I'm excited. I'm always excited to be on for the hidden opponent. But I'm super excited tonight because we have an incredible guest, incredible young man who's willing to share his story, a little bit about himself. And I just think it's cool for all of us really to learn. Um, Hopefully we can all leave educated, inspired, empowered, and leave a little bit of hype too. Maybe we'll get a few Ravens fans. So I have the pleasure of introducing Malaki Starks, safety for our Baltimore Ravens, former national champ at the University of Georgia, go Dogs,
Yeah.
consensus All-American who went on to become a first-round NFL draft pick. Malachi is a native of Jefferson, Georgia, and he grew up in a tight-knit small town. He met his wife, Savannah, who started dating him in the fourth grade, right? A little bit on and off again, right? But
Right,
they've stuck
right.
together, created those bonds. Also, during his childhood, his family endured several years of housing insecurity, moving between hotels, the homes of relatives and friends, but these struggles really shaped his determination and his perspective on success. Malachi also endured the tragic loss of his cousin and best friend, Keon Gresham, who was killed in a domestic murder-suicide when he was 7 years old. When Malachi was 7 years old. And this trauma really forced him to grow up quickly and fueled his drive to make the most of his talent. Malachi, faith and family are central pillars in your life. You credit your parents' perspective and belief, along with your desire to one day take care of them, as core motivations in your career. You're close to your sister Mariah, her son Isaiah, your nephew who has autism. And this special bond has really inspired you to support autism related causes through initiatives like the NFL's My Cause, My Cleats. Off the field, even further, man, you really built a reputation as a community minded leader, earning a place on the 2024 All State AFCA Good Works team for your involvement in youth football camps, campus tours for young players, school support efforts, and holiday giving programs for children in the Athens area. Malachi, you've had success at the highest levels, but your story started long before that. And I'm really, really grateful to have you on and for all of us to be able to learn from you tonight. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. That was that was a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, let me here's where I want to start. I think there's so much we can cover in so many different directions we can go tonight. But you've spoken about growing up with housing instability and moving between places at a young age. So I wanted you to share how that shaped the way you understand hardship and what you believed was possible for your life.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing was my faith with all of this. I think growing up, I don't think I've ever spent a Christmas in a house 2 years in a row. So like every Christmas I was in a different household. Um, but I think growing up, moving around, having my faith, I think that really taught me the um the definition of gratitude, and I think there's an exact definition, but I think everybody has their own definition of gratitude. But like for me, it really let me appreciate the small things. Which is ironic because when you don't have a lot, you want the big things, but like you realize the small things are what add up to the big things. And I think the fact that my family was so tight, the fact that we were really deep in our faith, like those times where um you couldn't see the other side or you couldn't see the light, I think made it so much more it molded me into who I am. And I think that really helped me with the process of understanding, life and where I'm at and where I want to go and, the things that I need to appreciate to get there.
As you're navigating all of this, right, and you're sort of learning this process of gratitude, investing in your faith. It's interesting you said you never spent Christmas in the same house, right? But you still had a home, right? Your
Yeah.
family, your community, right? You created that.
Mhm.
So as you're learning all of this, was there a point where you started to believe and understand that you could have success in life, right? You could have the bigger things if you
Mhm.
continued to believe and invest and appreciate the smaller things.
Yeah, I think that was huge. I don't think there was ever a point where I didn't believe that. And I think that's really big on my parents. They helped me kind of have that vision and stay like focused. Just because, it's not about where you start, it's about where you finish. And not everybody gets the same starter line. Because life isn't fair. But I think everybody's also running a different race, so like they kind of taught me, you run your race, you stay in your lane, and when it's your time, be ready for when your time comes. And I think for me, as in finding that home, as we were so tight, that they really instilled that into me and my sister, like you are not what you're going through. Like just because you're going through something and where you're at in life, that doesn't determine who you are. What matters is what you come out of it. So like if you can come out better, if you can come out stronger, that determines your character, that determines who you are. That determines your faith. And I think that was a really big thing for me and my family. So like the vision was kind of always there. I never gave up on myself. And I think that was the biggest thing, like no matter there are a lot of people in this world that want to do a lot of things. A lot of people want to do the same things. A lot of people want to do different things. And unfortunately, not everybody can do the same thing. Like there's a limit number for everything that you want in life. And I think at the end of the day, you have to bet on yourself. Like you have to, at some point, you have to stop worrying about what's going on, like what's coming tomorrow, like who's going to be there. Like at some point, you bet on yourself and you have faith in yourself and in your story, and then the rest of it take care of itself.
I mean, there's so much you just said that's so powerful. One of the things I want to highlight, and I want people here to just hear that you just said is you are not what you're going through,
Mhm.
right? And the ability to learn, to be able to focus on yourself, right? To run your own race, to realize that it may not be fair and your starting line may be, way behind everybody else's or it might be on a whole different track, right? But to be
Mhm.
able to focus on yourself, I think just is such a powerful message. And this is where I want to transition, right? Because you have gone through, in addition to what we just talked about, I mean, you've gone through some significant tragedy and loss.
Mhm.
And you experienced a significant loss earlier in your life. I mean, when you were 7 years old,
Mhm.
your cousin and your best friend, Keon, was killed. As you've gotten older, how has that experience shaped the way that you approach both football and life?
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think like it's giving me a sense of gratitude, but it's also giving me like a sense of maturity almost. I think because of that, I kind of grew up faster than I wanted to. But I think like after it happened, um, I spent so much time like being angry like at God and being angry at my faith. And not understanding why. I think that's the easiest thing for us as individuals and humans to do in life is to question why. And I did that a lot. And it's so crazy. I remember the day before he passed, he was over the house. We were outside playing freeze tag, running around all day. And then the next day we were supposed to go to Phenopolis. And I wanted to spend a night with him so bad. Like I kept asking my dad, like, can I go spend a night with Keon? Can I go spend a night with Keon? And my dad kept saying no. And like day went on, he was over there all day, and I kept asking my dad, "Can I please go spend the night? Can I please go spend the night?" He was like, "No, no, you can't. Like you can go tomorrow. Y'all meet up tomorrow. It'll be okay." Um, so I was so mad when I went to bed because I wanted to go spend the night. He was my best friend. I wanted to go spend the night. And then I woke up. My parents took us to my great grandmother's house, and then I remember like when my great grandmother got the call, she started crying. Like nobody really knew what it was. My parents came and picked us up. They told us. Um, so for a long time, I spent a a while being mad at my dad as well. Because I kind of went through the okay, like what if I was there? Like maybe I could have stopped it. Maybe it would have been a different outcome, or maybe I wouldn't be sitting in the seat that I am today. I think everything happens for a reason, and I think I remember sitting in church, and pastor was talking, and like I remember like it was like years later, it just like hit me, like I start crying, and like I kind of like all like the anger and like the confusion that I was feeling, I let it go. I just kind of felt like I literally felt like the weight off my shoulders. It was crazy. I still remember it. And I think I really like as I got older, um, it got more clear, and I think I was able to go through that because one, God knew I could handle it, so he allowed me to go through the situation to give him glory. But also, I think a big thing was that like I'm in a position now to where like I I can help other people that may be going through a similar thing, or like you never know, like something comes down the line later in life. Like I've been through it already, so like I have an understanding, and I have like a different type of view on things now. Now that that's happened to me at an early age. And it sounds crazy, and it's something that like I would have never said when I was young, but I'm grateful for it, and it's tough. But it's literally made me who I am today, so I wouldn't change it.
First of all, thank you for sharing that story and for even sharing the context of, playing with them all day and like giving
Mhm.
us a chance to, in some ways, appreciate the friendship and the bond and how special it was for you. It's interesting. You said things happen for a reason. You believe that,
Mhm.
and I think when tragedy or tragic situations hit, oftentimes people feel the need to say something, right? To
Mhm.
to offer comforting words, and
Yep.
and they mean well, but in the midst of what you're going through and what you're navigating, there's nothing really that can make it better, right? But people
Right.
still say things, say things, say things. So
Mhm.
I wanted to just ask him, when you were sitting a couple years later, when you were sitting in church and you said that, you're listening to them speak and you started crying and were able to let everything go or start to have that healing process. Was there anything particular that was said in that moment or anything particular that you heard in that moment that allowed you to be able to sort of go through that process of healing, um, potentially forgiveness,
Mhm.
gratitude, right? And be able to understand, hey, I'm here for a reason and I was put in this
Right.
position for a reason.
Right. I think like the biggest thing I remember is Pastor had talked about like growth, right? And he had talked about like growth in like your life, growth and your spiritual life just in general. And something that like it's easier said than done. It's hard to grow when you're still holding on to certain things. And I remember like my family's always been really tight. So like you said, like I remember like people always want to say stuff and like people and they mean well, but sometimes you just need people to be there with you. Like I don't need you to say anything. Like just sit here with me. Like let's cry together, you know? Like let's just be here with me in this moment. And that could mean more than any words that you could ever tell somebody. And I think my family was like it's so I think about it, it's weird. Like I think my family's perfect. That's just how I am. I think that's how everybody should be. But like it's like they knew when to speak and they knew when just to be there. Um, but I also think like they were going through it too. So it's like when they felt something that they wanted to speak about, they spoke. And then when they realized that like, okay, maybe this is a moment where I just need to sit. And I think that was a big thing for me. And then going back to the growth thing, like I was holding on to it for so long because I was mad. I was wondering like why me? Like why? Like why is this happening? Like if you're this big awesome, like why me? You know, and I remember like I just my mom was in the choir, she still is. So my mom was singing and I gotta remember it and I just remember like I felt so much tension and then like I was really trying to focus on the whole growth thing. So I was like, you know what, like let's just I'm gonna let it go. Like I'm gonna do my best to like let it go. And it may not be like and I didn't let it all go like that day. Like it took me a while. Like it doesn't happen overnight, but it took me some time. But like that was the first step for me to realize, okay, like I can get past this if I allow myself to get past it. You know, I was kind of holding myself back from my own growth by not wanting to grow because it was hurtful. Like it was painful. I think growth is uncomfortable, but I think when you can find the uncomfortness and comfort in the uncomfortness, you can find the comfort in there. I think that's when you grow the most. And I think that's also something I learned through sports, like the most. Like when I'm at my most uncomfortable spot, the more I can be comfortable in that, like whether if it's lifting weights or whether when I was in college, where if it was going to class, like whatever it was, that allowed me to grow and be better than I could have been if I just would have, sat still or never mind, like it's too hard, like I don't want to do it, you know. So I think that was the biggest thing for me.
I think that's wonderful. I think it's a poignant thing, right? And sometimes we don't realize how much we learn through these experiences. years later, right? And even
Right.
understanding like the agency that we have, right? And the ability to choose if we're going to hold on to it or if we're going to let it go, but knowing that that's going to be hard and learning how to
Hmm.
go through that discomfort. Now you do something special. You know, it's interesting. We talked about what people say. And a lot of
Hmm.
times people say things and other people think they know what they mean, but they don't necessarily know what they mean, right? So here's where I want to go with this, right? Because a lot of people might look at the number that you wear on your
Hmm.
jersey and they might think they know what that means, but they don't know what that means. So can you tell us sort of
Right.
how you've chosen to carry your cousin's memory alive with you?
Yeah, I think um so like growing up, my dad's a Kobe guy. Like switching to basketball, my dad's a Kobe guy. He's big on Kobe. He's always watched him. I watched him when he was watching. Um so like that's always been like his thing. But I think starting off, like I just even besides that, like I wanted like a low number at first. Like when I first started playing, I was like, I want a low number. Like I want to look cool. Like give me like one or two. Like I want to be cool, you know? And I didn't really get that chance because like I was I was 5 and I played up with 7 years old. And actually my first football coach, he's like my football dad. Like he didn't want me on his team because I was 5 and I was undersized. Like he didn't want me at first. So like he was trying to like not let the league pick me. But I ended up whatever I got number. I don't even know what number it was. I can't remember. It's forever ago. But then I got it, and then at some point I switched to 24, and then Keon started playing football. And when he started, it was his first year. He picked 24, so I switched out of it because I was like, man, you trying to copy me? Like I just you wanna copy and paste, like be original. This is my number. You go get your own number. And then he had it, so I switched to like two, I think, or five at the time. I finally got my two. So I switched into that, and then when he passed away, I switched back into it, and I've been winning ever since. You know, I think that's kind of been my way to kind of carry his legacy, but also, you know, like the dreams that I had were the same dreams that he had, you know, so he's kind of living through me. And I get to live through him by keeping his name alive and, you know, doing the right things, you know, not just on the field, but off the field, you know, because like I think that's just as important than it is, you know, like who cares if you're a really good player, you know, like what do people say about you? Like when you leave somebody's house and you go have dinner, what do they say about you when you leave the house? You know, and I think that's a really big thing. Because I'm able to kind of live through that for him. Even though if it's not like his name, he's with me, and I'm with him. So I think that's the whole reason behind the 24, and I haven't switched it since.
You know, you've created opportunities in your life to be grateful for things that
Mm-hmm.
have happened to you, things that you didn't necessarily choose, people, things that other people would really try to ignore or forget, right? And another thing that you've really chosen to remember and embody is your parents' perseverance and your desire to take care of them as a major source of motivation,
Mm-hmm.
right, for what you do. So, how do you carry that responsibility in a way that fuels you without letting it become overwhelming?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think at the end of the day, it's not something that I need to do. Like my parents don't need me to take care of them. Like my parents don't expect me to take care of them. You know, like that's something that I want. And I think um a lot of people can get like caught up in that world of okay, like I have to do this, I need to do this versus I want to do it. And I think that could also have like a driving factor, you know, like if you have to do something and like if you have to do something at some point you're going to run out of juice for it. You know, if you want to do something you're not, you know, it's just like having a job that you like. You know, if you have a job you don't like, at some point you're going to stop coming to work and you're going to get fired. If you have a job you love, you're going to show up every day and have energy. And I think a really big thing for me. I think it's something that I want to do because of, how we grew up and how they raised us, and like my parents gave us the best childhood like ever. I wouldn't trade my childhood for anything. Um, and I think that's just something that I've always like it's always been my dream, just to have the opportunity to take care of my family in ways that I want to, and not necessarily have to.
So, Malaki, you don't know this about me, but everybody on this call who's ever heard me speak knows I'm big on language and I'm big on what you choose to say and the impact that it has on your brain. And I love what
Hmm.
you just said. You said if you need to or you have to, you're going to run out of juice, right?
Hmm.
Because it becomes an obligation, it becomes a responsibility,
Right.
right? And nobody wants responsibility more than they have. Nobody wants another obligation. Nobody wants another assignment, right? When they're already trying to struggle through everything, right? Or another course that's put on their plate, right? But when you choose, right? And you chose to think about it as I get to or I want to. Now that responsibility becomes a privilege,
Hmm.
right? And you have choice in it, right? And so just what you talked about is then that fuels you, right? And you've talked about gratitude several times in this conversation. But when you talk about I get to or I want to, right? There's a sense of appreciation and a sense of privilege, right? And even a sense of, being in a position, um, that's a gift, right? And that is a very important distinction just in the language that you just used of how you think about it, right? And
Hmm.
then allows us to be able to show up because we want to show up. If we get to do things or we want to do things like we're going to show up, we're going to show up early, we're going to stay late, right?
Right.
Because we get to do it. We want to do it, right? Um, and that's just, I think, important in whatever the circumstances, right? And I think for a lot of the students that are on here, right, there's certain things that they quote unquote have to do,
Hmm.
right? Or do they get to do them, right? And I think that's an important
Right.
distinguish, right? As we've had this conversation and this conversation is evolving, family is clearly central to who you are.
Hmm.
We talked about your wife, but your sister and your nephew are also incredibly important to you, right?
Hmm.
Your nephew Isaiah. So how have these relationships both inspired you, but also grounded you, especially in moments of stress, success, or uncertainty?
Yeah, I think for me, like my sister had her first kid at an early age. She was in high school, late high school years when she had Isaiah. And I think for me, I didn't really understand like the whole concept of like being an uncle, I guess. Um, so like I just for a while he was just the little kid that was in the house with us who was family. And I think me and my sister have always been tight, like always been tight, and she was super athletic and super competitive, and everything that she did I wanted to do. Like I started running track because she ran track. I wanted to be better than her. She played basketball. Like we would be in the cul-de-sac at my aunt's house at like 2 in the morning, and like I wouldn't go in the house until I beat her. Like it was like we were just so competitive, but we were so close. And I think when Isaiah came along, it just we actually got tighter. Like we bonded more, and I think I've always had a special bond with Isaiah. He's super smart. Like I broke my leg coming into my freshman year of high school. And I had like this little game chair in my room, and like he would come sit in the chair every day. Like he would just sit. Like he would sit, he would look, he would watch TV with me. Like he would just sit, and he was like a kid, like baby at this time. And I think as I've gotten older, I really appreciate the relationship that I have with both of them. And she has three now. She has Kamari, he's one and some change, and she has Keegan. He was born in last January. Um, so I think that was just that bond that I have with them. It's just tight, and they love my wife. My wife loves them, so it's like it's super like family tightness. And I think that's something that's kind of shaped us into who we are.
It's interesting. I think a lot of folks who are listening, a lot of folks on this call, right, can appreciate the importance of family
Mm-hmm.
and being bonded and stuff like that. But I wanted you to talk a little bit, right? Because Isaiah is not just your nephew, but Isaiah also is somebody that has inspired you, right? Has inspired you
Mm-hmm.
to advocate and to inspire, right, through his
Mhm.
differences and through sort of, again, not necessarily who he, not necessarily what he has, but who he is, right, has
Right.
inspired you. So, can you talk a little bit about sort of the role that that plays, and again, how that sort of helps keep you in some ways grounded or gives you perspective, right, in all of the sort of things that you're achieving and trying to achieve and kind of essentially navigating?
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing for me, like honestly, like before Isaiah got here, I never really paid too much attention to like special needs. Like I always like I not that I never thought it was like a thing or I didn't think it was important to know about, but like I just wasn't surrounded by it. So like my knowledge wasn't enough for me to know, like you are what you know, and I didn't really know much about it. And when Isaiah came along, like just the way that like he approaches is so interesting. Like we were talking about it like before, like the way that his brain works is so interesting. Like he's super smart. Like he does things a certain way. Like sometimes like stuff has to be lined up way. Like when he gets off the different route, like he has to get in a car and like go to this. Like it's so interesting to see like how his brain works. And I think for me, it was just I got to learn through him. Like I got to learn while he was learning, and I think it really opened my eyes, um, and kind of went back to the thing we talked about, you're not what you're going through. And I think he's living proof of that, like yes, like he has autism, but that's not who he is. Like he's such a smart, like young, like vibrant kid who has so much joy. And I think I got to like truly learn like through him and like see like his gratitude. Like he always has a smile on his face, and like it could be so much like it could be so much worse. Like it could be like some people would look and be like, that's bad, but like you don't know, like it could anything could be so much worse. And I think that's something that my parents used to tell me. Like when I was little and I used to complain, like I used to hate going, I used to hate doing stuff. Like I used to hate like so much stuff. I was such a hard-headed kid, but like it could have been so much worse, like I hated doing homework. Like what if you didn't have lights to do your homework with? Like you don't have the opportunity to do your homework. Or like what if you don't want to go to this? Like, what if you don't have the opportunity to run or walk? Like, it could be so much worse than what it is. And I think he's allowed me to kind of see that through him.
Malachi, it's fascinating, right? Because I think so many of us think that when we are interacting with somebody who has special needs or somebody younger than us, right? Or
Hmm.
somebody who has differences in the way that they process information, right? A lot of times we sort of have this perception that we need to teach them, right? We
Yeah.
need to teach them. And you said, I got to learn. First of all, again, you didn't say I have to learn,
Right.
right? You said I got to learn. You said I got to learn from him, right? And the way
Hmm.
he processes information. And I think what I really appreciate about this conversation and what we're talking about is not just the way you're choosing to think about things, but again, that wherever we are, no matter what we're going through, no matter what our circumstances are, we have choices, right? And we
Hmm.
can choose to look to learn, we can choose to look to appreciate things. And in through all of these, right, it's evident that not only are these special people, but these people have made you, right,
Hmm.
a better version of yourself, right, and
Right.
allowed you to be able to do what you do, not and in large part, right, because of the memory and the inspiration and the things that they've taught you, right? And I think that's powerful, right? For anybody to hear. So, speaking about learning, right? Like we're on this call and there's a lot of young athletes, right? A
Hmm.
lot of incredibly smart, talented, motivated people. Um, and they're listening and they're navigating pressure. They're navigating
Hmm.
different transitions. They have adversity.
Hmm.
So based on your journey, right? And what you've continued to do and what you've continued to learn, what do you want them to understand about perseverance and grit and what success really means?
Hmm. That's that's a great question. That is a really good question. I think I think when people hear like the word perseverance, they always like in my mind, like when I first heard it, like when I first started to hear it, like I always thought like in my head I was picturing like somebody like walking through a storm and then like they made up their mind and all of a sudden they were out of the storm. Like it was sunshine, like it was all of a sudden when they made up their mind, it was there, but that's not how that works. Things take time. And I think perseverance and grit go hand in hand, and I think whenever you're faced with obstacles, whenever you are faced with adversity or difficulties, I think the biggest thing is just realizing where your feet are at. Like it's so easy for somebody to like when they're have a lot on their plate to look ahead or look what happened to them like last week or whatever, but like I think the biggest thing is where are my feet at now? Like where am I at now? What can I do now in the situation that I'm at in this current moment? And I think going with that, I think the biggest thing with that is just realizing that things take time. Like it's okay to not be okay when you're going through things. Like you're gonna feel things that you may not want to feel. Like you're gonna go through things that you may not want to talk about, that you may not want to go through. And I think that's where the growth comes in. Like allowing yourself to sit with that and grow with it, but also using the people around you. Like it's okay to tell somebody like I'm struggling, like help me, or like I'm struggling, sit with me, or like I'm struggling. Do you know somebody that can help me? Like those things are okay. And I think everybody has helped, like where you are now, somebody helped you get there. Like nobody has gotten anywhere by themselves. Like somebody has helped you get to where you are now. And I think realizing that, like, use your help, that you have help, but also it's going to take some time to persevere, but that's okay because I'm going to grow through it. And when I get to the end of it, I'm going to be a better person because I made the decision to bet on myself and grow through it.
Malachi, this is the last question I want to ask you, right? Because we're talking about grit, perseverance, right? And a lot of that sets you up for success, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people on this call, success looks one way, at least right
Right.
now, right? But
Yeah.
when they get there, it might look different,
Right.
right? And you've had a lot of success, man, on the football field, right? Like you're
Mm-hmm.
competing for national championships, right? Consensus All-American. Like you've had a lot of success. And then you come to Baltimore, which the expectation is a lot of success, but it's
Mm-hmm.
different. It looked different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it may take time, right? And I want you to know that, right? And I want
Right.
you to know that, growth is going to be uncomfortable. We're here with
Right.
you. But my question, man, the last thing I want to is, so as you've built this grit, as you've built this perseverance, as you have this gratitude, right? As you have all these people in your life that have taught you and shaped you and molded you and allowed you to be inspired, right? How do you sort of redefine what success looks like now, right? When you sort of gotten to that level that we expect, well, if we keep doing what we're doing, right, we keep working hard, like
Mm-hmm.
it's going to look a certain way, but it doesn't necessarily. And so, how do you lean upon your experiences, your knowledge, all of that stuff we just talked about to really redefine your definition or your relationship with success?
Yeah, I think for me, like super, super early, like success, when I thought about success, like I thought about money. Like that was the first thing when people talk about people being successful. I was like, oh, they got a lot of money. Like if you're successful, you have money, right? Um, and as I got older, it changed. I was like, okay, if you're successful, that means you have things in life that people want. Like there's things in your life that you have that everybody else wants. And then as I kept getting older, I realized like everybody's success is different, but also you can never be successful if your definition of success depends on somebody else's success. Like if I'm looking at you and your life, I'm like, man, like he's super successful. He has his business. He has all these offers. He has all these grades. Like I don't have any of that stuff. Like I'm not successful. Then I'm never going to be successful because like how we talked about earlier, you're running a different race. Like we may be wanting to go to the same place, but we're not, we're running a different race. And I think for me, like it really got to the point where success could mean like so many different things to so many different people. And I think like I got to college and I thought like success was being able to play. And then I started playing and I was like, okay, maybe success is just winning games. And then I started winning games. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's winning championships. And then we won championships. And like it kept changing. Like my version of success kept changing. And I realized like for me, success is, I think it ties along with leadership. And like I think everybody, whether they want to or not, they lead and they lead either way. Whether if it's a good influence or a bad influence, everybody leads. And I think for me, my success was being the best version of myself that I could be when I laid my head on the pillow. Like when my day is over with, like was I intentionally the best version of myself that I could have been and did I grow? And with that, like how many people did I bring along with me? Like did I grab, did I not physically, but like maybe sometimes, but like did I grab somebody and bring them along with me? Like did they get better? Did they achieve the best version of themselves as I'm chasing this version of myself? And I think for me, the more that I can check, because things change in life. Like you go somewhere, like you want to go to this college, you want to go to this high school, whatever, and like you want to play all these sports, and like your goals change. Like because once you reach your goals, you want more. But I think the fact that I can chase the best version of myself, one that allows me to focus on myself and not anybody else, and measure my success to what they have. Because I think that's the thief of joy. I think people hear that a lot, and it truly is. But I also think it allows me to be real and authentic with myself, but also try to bring people along with me. I think that's the leadership part of it. The more people that I can bring along with me, and they can grow and they can become the best version of themselves, and then they can grab somebody else, and then it's like a chain reaction. We're all growing, we're all moving towards this one goal, and not even in football, in life. Like people want to be the best, like you want to be like the best son, like you want to be the best brother, the best husband, like the best dad, like you want to like the best wife, the best sister, like you want to be all these things. And I think if you chase that within yourself, then you'll be able to find what success really means to you and not look at somebody and realize, okay, that's what success is. Like success to me isn't money, it's not things, it's who you are and what you're chasing within yourself, because that's something that nobody can reach. Like I can't come be the best version of you because I'm not you. So like I'll that's not my success. Like and you can't do the same with me. So I think that became really clear to me as I got older, and that's just something that I've attached myself to.
And it's so cool to listen to you talk and how insightful you are, right? And the way you articulate these things. Man, there's a real famous philosopher slash comedian named Chris Rock, right? Chris Rock talks about the difference between rich and wealthy,
Right,
right? And he says there's a lot of rich people, but they ain't wealthy,
right.
right? And what you're talking about, right, is our definition. If our definition of success is money, that's being rich,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the relationships, the connections, trying to be a better version of yourself, like what you're talking about here is wealth,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you don't have to have money to be wealthy, right? You don't have to grow up in a quote unquote, perfect life to be
Yep.
wealthy. You can grow up in a life full of uncertainty and tragedy, and you can choose, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, to say that it was perfect,
Right.
right? And that's wealth, man, and that's gratitude. So, what I want everyone to take from this conversation, and hopefully everybody learned as much as I did, is man, there's such a powerful reminder that success it's not just about performance, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
never really about performance. It's about adversity, relationships, perspective. And the perseverance is not just about enduring it, right? It's not just about going through the storm, trying to get to sunshine, right? It's about growing, evolving, staying connected to what matters most. And that's what I really believe that you have shared with us tonight. Malachi, before I open it up for questions, man, is there anything else that you want to add?
Ooh, that's tough. I think I think for everybody who's been listening, I think they can tell I'm really big on my faith, and and you may not be like maybe that's not your thing, and that's okay. Like I'm not. That's not a knock to you. I think if that's not your thing, I think truly dive into who you are, what you want to be, and think about how it looks to get there. And I think whether you put your faith in something or not, like you have people with you along the way. Lean on those people. Like lean into the experience of learning how to use the people that's there for you. Like it's hard, it's uncomfortable, it's tough, but at the end of the day, you're gonna like your future self is gonna thank you that you took the time to really learn because it's a process. Really learn how to ask for stuff, like how to ask for help, how to be able to be helped. A lot of people, when you go through things, you're like, you don't want people to know, or like you want to put in like this tough front. Like that's not real life, and that's okay. Like the better you can realize like that's not okay, the better you'll be. And I think that will also get you to the point of your own definite definition of success. And I think that's just the biggest thing because I know we hit a lot on faith, and that's just who I am. But that may not be everybody. But if that's not you, there's nothing wrong with that at all. You find your path. Like I said, everybody's running a different race, um, and when your time comes, it comes. It's your choice, and you have to make up your mind to be ready when your time comes. Like when your opportunity is called upon in life, in sports, whatever it may be, it's the choices you make will determine if you're ready. And nobody knows that but you in the moment. Like the moment always knows, like if you did the right things to be ready for it. So I think that's my biggest thing.
I appreciate it. Are you okay if we take some questions from
Yeah,
folks?
yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. I've got a handful. Thank you, Malachi. That was awesome so far. I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
go for a couple more minutes here with some great questions. First one, have you dealt with imposter syndrome and feeling like you don't belong in some of the rooms that you're in? If so, how have you handled it?
Yes. I think that's a really good question. I think for me, I spent a long time not feeling like I really belonged in the room that I was in, because people may have been different, because um, I wasn't the same. We weren't like I wasn't where they were in life, and I think for me, I really chose to focus on myself, but also like find my group, like be real with me to realize like, okay, if I don't feel like I belong here and like this is making me feel like I don't belong here, or these people are making me feel like I don't belong here, I know I belong. So like that's not me. Like however they feel, that's their problem. Like I know where I'm supposed to be. I know I belong because I believe in myself. And also like where are the people who also believe in me enough to make me feel comfortable in those rooms when I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. And great advice no matter what level you're at. Kind of similar, but like, what is your experience talking about mental health in athletics, especially in a sport like football, where, the culture is what football culture is? Have you been forthcoming about your own mental health? Have you been like a vocal mental health advocate? And how have you kind of navigated that in football culture?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me early on, like I was also one of those people who were like, I'm good, like I'm okay, like nothing. It's like my something could be going on that was completely messing up my day, and like I'd be fine, like nobody would know. And I think as I grew and as I got more comfortable with who I was, that allowed me to really speak up on it, but also speak truth in it. I think not that I was like nervous at first, I just wasn't sure about like where I was at. And I think once I realized where I was at, I was able to really speak on it and really be comfortable in a situation of talking about mental health, but also mental health and the sport that I play. Because it's not really like, I mean, it is now, but it hasn't always been like a really big thing. And that's like with any sport, really. But like, it always hasn't been, okay, like, let's get in a circle and talk about it. Like, how's everybody feeling? That hasn't always been the thing, but I think that also builds connection. It also builds relationship for people to be there for you. I think some of my best friends have came from the conversations where I just laid it all out and they did too. And like we really got to connect and bond over those conversations. And it's allowed me to carry those moments with me to where I'm at today.
Yeah, that's awesome. We have a question about how you've played for three different head coaches over the last three
Mhm.
years. How do you stay strong mentally and maintain your confidence even when that environment around you is rapidly changing?
Yeah, that was new for me. Because my 3 years of college, I had the same head coach. My position coach has changed a little bit. Um, but I think the with sports and with life, I think the more you can be adaptable to things, the better you can be. So I think for me, it wasn't like getting locked in on, okay, like this year I'm playing for like Coach Smart. Like I'm locked in on his way and how he does things, and that's it. And then go for Coach Harbaugh. Like it's like I'm locked in on that. So like I think I open myself to be open minded to be able to be adaptable to changes, because especially with sports, like how it is today, people change, like players change, coaches change. So like it's not necessarily getting so focused on like the people and like the coaches that's running what's going on. It's more about the system and more about like how can I be adaptable? Like how much can I learn so that way like when change does come, I'm able to take what I've learned and apply it to the changes that need to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be forever, right? Constantly
Right.
adapting no matter what environment you're in. We've got a friend who's a young college D3 football player who did not achieve his dream of going D1. How do you
Mhm.
keep pushing and trusting the process? And they also say, go Ravens.
Don't worry, Ravens. I like that. I like that. I think I think coming out of high school, I was so like caught up and like, man, like I gotta go D1. Like I have to, and it's my. I mean, I did, so it's probably a bad example, but like I was like, I have to do this. Like I have to go there, and me and all my friends were like, there's a group of 6 of us. I talk to them every day. Like we were all like, I gotta do this. Like if I don't, then my dream's not gonna work out. And if I'm being completely honest, like that is so not true. Like it doesn't it doesn't really matter where you are. Like they'll come find you, Like that's the whole thing of focusing on yourself and not really your dream isn't over because you're not where you want it to go. Like your dream is just starting. You have a different story. You have a different you have a different starting line than may other people may have, but your dream isn't over. I think your end goal of what you want is still achievable. It's just realizing I'm going to focus on me and be the best version of myself. And in the process of doing that, you're going to be able to achieve your goal. Like somebody's going to look at you and be like, man, like I love the way this kid works. Like I love the way he shows up. I love the way he does things. And like that's going to allow you to climb up the ladder and do the things that you want to do in life. So I think um focusing on yourself, like some of the players that I play with now, like they didn't go to a D1 school. Like some of the players that I play with at Georgia, like they didn't start there. They showed up there that way because of what they did and the work that they put in, and they betted on themselves. So I think that's the biggest thing.
It's awesome. In a career that is consistently under a microscope, what adversity have you or your peers been exposed to, like in the NFL? And how do you overcome those challenges? Does the NFL support you in that?
Yeah, I think everything is so public. Like everything is so like out there. Like whatever you do is somewhere. Like you're being watched all the time. And I think on the field and off the field, that's probably where your biggest adversity comes from. It's just people saying this, people saying that, and there's a lot of sometimes things are being said, and like it's easy to drop a wedge in between you and your teammate, or you and your team, or you and your coach. And I think the biggest thing is just sticking together. And I think that kind of goes back to like creating a bond with the people that you're with. Like the more bonded you can be, the easier it is to attack adversity together. And I think the league does a great job. They really do. They give you a bunch of resources. They allow you to, reach out if you need help. They teach you how to deal with certain things that you may be dealing with. And I think those resources that you have, but also the people you have, you lean on those and they allow you to get through those moments.
This is kind of a mix of a couple people's questions, but when you're dealing with adversity or any other struggles, are there things that you do or say to yourself to kind of get through that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, I'm really big on prayer, because of my faith. Like when I like the first thing I do is like I pray like all the time. It's all the time. And I think when I'm going through something, like you can only sit in it for so long. Like adversity doesn't last, like a storm, it doesn't last forever. You can only sit in it for so long. But I also believe to a certain degree, you determine how long you sit in it. Like if you don't make the decision to get up and go, you're just prolonging how long you're going to be in the storm. And I think like the biggest thing for me, like I play DB is arguably one of the toughest positions to play. Because things are drawn up to go right, and my job is to stop them from going wrong. Like nothing helps me with my job whatsoever. Um, and I think like when I give up a play or when something happens, like I tell myself, I say shake back. Like that's the biggest thing. Like I think as a DB, you have to have a quick memory, like very short memory. Like because if you don't, the next play affects the next play. And I think it's kind of the same thing with life. I think when I go through things in life, I always say shake back, and I think that's just my way of telling me, don't let this affect what's coming next. Like this happened, you can't change it. Something is about to come. Don't let what just happened affect what's about to happen now. Like you have to get back to yourself at some point and truly believe in yourself. And I think like that's my biggest thing. Like I pray, and then like my biggest thing I say is shake back. I say it all the time because I say it all the time.
Dr. T, don't you have some psychoeducation on that?
I do, but I think it's important to understand, right? Like the more you hear something, the more you're going to believe it, right? And the more your
Mm-hmm.
brain hears it, the more it believes it, right? So it's also like a lot of folks have sayings and different sayings they say at different times, and they look great on
Mm-hmm.
t-shirts and posters, right? And
Right.
but I think what you're doing, right, is having that saying, I call it a signature statement, right? A
Mm-hmm.
signature statement. The more you say it, right, the more it becomes a part of who you are. You identify with it, you embody with it, and then it's going to have more value to you. And then when you say that statement, that's going to directly impact how you feel and how you respond. So when you say shake
Mm-hmm.
back, but you said it all the time, you're going
Mm-hmm.
to believe it. It's not just you convincing yourself. So I think it is
Right.
important for anyone listening too is the words we use matter, but also having consistent language, right? And
Right.
coming consistently back to it is also going to help you be able to embed it in terms of like your identity, right? It's like your name. Like you're always
Mm-hmm.
going to respond to your name. Why? Because
Right.
you've heard it so many times and in so
Mm-hmm.
many situations, and you might not be able to hear anything else because your brain's not working right. But somebody says your name, you will stop and you will turn and
Right.
you will respond. And you will know with confidence and conviction that they're referring to you. Why? Because you've
Mm-hmm.
heard it. And so when you hear shake back and you say that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's time to move forward. Like, let's go. So I think it's a great point, Leanne. Thanks for letting me comment on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a few more and we'll wrap it up. What are some of your goals outside of sport?
Um, Outside of sports, like I'm really big on like giving back and like being in the community. I think when I was little, that's something like I didn't really see, not because like people didn't care, but like where I'm from, we never really had somebody to come back and be that like image. Um, it's like I'm really big on just like being in the community, being back. Um, I think Like my biggest goal, like when I leave the house, like my biggest goal is to make somebody that I don't know smile. Like if I can make somebody that I don't know, if I can make them smile, like one person a day, like that's okay, because you never know what somebody's going through. You never know how somebody's feeling, and like you don't know how people are going to remember you. And I think with people who play sports, a big thing that always people always talk about is legacy. Like, what do you want your legacy to be? And me personally, like not football, like and like not in a bad way, but like I don't want people to remember me from my sport. Like I want people to remember me because like I was a good person. Like I was at heart, like I was somebody who you could come to in a time of need and talk to, or somebody you could come sit with, or like when I left your house for dinner, like you said good things about me. Like I want to be like that type of person. And I think, those are the big things, like I want to have a family one day. Like I want to be the best dad ever because my dad was the best dad ever. Like I want to be the best uncle ever. Like I want to be like the best version of myself. So I think a lot of those kind of tie in with my version of success, about like my goals. But I think that's definitely it. That's a great question.
Thank you so much, Malachi. Thank you, Dr. T. I know I'm feeling personally inspired. It's so incredible to see the human behind the helmet, right? I think it's there's so much depth and beauty to you. So thank you for sharing that with us tonight. So smoothly and easily and vulnerably. I can't believe you're like younger than me and can speak so articulately about this. Like you just graduated college and you're speaking so incredibly about your truth. So I really appreciate you being here tonight, and I hope everyone enjoyed and learned something new today. Thanks for being here with us, and hopefully this isn't the last time that you'll see THO hanging out with Malachi. So thank you guys. Thank you, Dr.
Thank,
T, as well.
thank you so much.